Some warnings whisper before they shout. I was 22 years old when I met him. I watched all my friends enter into relationships as teenagers, but me. I had a list of traits I desired in my future husband, and I was not going to settle for second best. So when I saw him ministering in the city, he had my attention. He was confident and extremely good looking. I had to talk to him. So I asked him what he was up to, and we got talking. He ended up asking for my number, and later on in the evening he called and we talked for hours. I got off the phone and found my mother, and I announced, "I think I've met the man I'm going to marry." We had a lot in common. He loved God and seemed to care a lot about people. All the boxes were getting ticked. Later on, we met at a party, and he showed up in a shiny convertible. Honestly, that didn't impress me, but I did think, if I'm destined to share my future with this man, then it seems he has his finances in order, and that was important to me. Side note, the car was not his, it was his parents'. And it all starts to make sense to me later on in life, and why he borrowed that car, which I'm sure I'll cover in a future episode. A few weeks later, we talk about the future. We also talk about our past, and he mentions his no stance on alcohol because of his past struggles, and also he mentions his sleeping around, which kind of goes with that struggle, right? So it didn't shock me. I accepted it, and I was amazed at this transformed person before me. He seemed to be a genuine follower of Christ, and his street ministering to me was fruit of it. We talked about our intentions and both confessed our feelings for each other. So we were officially dating. I invited him to my church, and I couldn't wait to show him off. He said he'd pick me up at 9:30 a.m. Sunday came, and so did 9:30. I found myself waiting till almost 10 a.m., the time that church started. I was concerned. I didn't receive a call or a text. That maybe should have been my first red flag, but I quickly dismissed it when I heard a car speedily pull up into my parents' driveway. I opened the door to Josh, and he looks like he just woke up. I can't remember what excuse he gave me. I just remember stepping into his car and being reminded of my stepfather. My stepfather is an alcoholic, and whenever he drank, our home smelt weird, like yeastiness. I was incredibly confused. Why is this smell in Josh's car reminding me of my stepfather's drinking? I thought Josh didn't drink. Did someone leave alcohol in the car somewhere? That was red flag number 2, but I dismissed it because I didn't consider that this man would lie to me. There's got to be another logical explanation, I thought. A few months pass, and there's a whole lot of love bombing. We talk for lengthy hours on the phone, see each other multiple times throughout the week, and I noticed it was getting off balance, and I gently said to Josh in a phone conversation that coming home late when I have to study the next day is affecting me, and I'm going to have to limit how much we see each other outside of the weekends. His tone shifted, and he sounded distant. The next day at my course, I could sense something was just not right. Josh was not responding much to my texts. I was deeply concerned about him. So on my lunch break, I decided I'm going to jump on a bus and visit him at work, which was about 15 minutes away. I had to make sure he was fine and let him know how much he means to me. He was surprised to see me and happy. So we talked, and I left that visit seeing a smile on his face, and everything was back to normal. This is a tactic. It's sometimes called push-pull manipulation, and it happens when someone distances themselves or withdraws emotionally after you set a boundary. creating tension and doubt. Then when you reach out to fix things, they return the warmth, which reinforces the cycle. It makes you question your needs and you end up overextending yourself, even when you're just asking for respect or balance. I'll go into this more in a future episode, but for now I really wanted to focus on red flags, which leads me to my third most biggest red flag, and every time I think about it, I feel embarrassed. One night, Josh called, and he sounded really strange and different. He wasn't making any sense. I mean, I'm happy to hear from him, but I'm just not understanding his words. Then he shocks me and uses a curse word, which is not like him. I ask, what? Then I hear silence for a few seconds, and Josh hangs up on me. I just stared at my bedroom wall and wondered what on earth just happened. Is he crazy? Like, is there something actually mentally wrong with him? I thought. Who am I committing myself to? I wanted to ask him, but I didn't, as I feared that answer, and I also feared losing him. And at that point, I had really fallen for him. I remembered thinking, what do I do? I guess I'll deal with this when we're married if it comes up again. Oh, so foolish. I definitely had to deal with it when we were married. The next day, Josh calls me by noon and asks to see me later in the evening. I was still confused over the last time we talked and felt off about it, but I didn't want to disappoint him, so I agreed. The evening came and Josh drives me out to a scenic lookout. He asks me to close my eyes and pull out my hand, so I do. And he places something small and light. I then open my eyes and I see a ring nestled in my palm. Josh then asks me to marry him with his big smile on his face. At this point, I'm shocked and pushing down the awkwardness of last night, and to be honest, I was disappointed the man didn't get down on one knee to propose, and the ring did not reflect my character. Everything lacked planning about this. No thought. Nothing like I imagined a proposal to be. So, with the desire to keep him and still with the bewilderment of yesterday, I managed to smile and said yes. We drove away from that scenic lookout, engaged and excited, but a fibre of me felt like I was getting ripped off. It took me 11 years to learn the term red flags and to actually see what they look like before I married Josh. If I'd had even a shred of self-awareness back then, I might have brought those odd moments into the light. Asked the hard questions. And maybe, just maybe, given our marriage a stronger foundation. And if nothing changed, I would have walked away. But I didn't, because I was not self-aware then, like I am now. And here's the thing. God used the pain in my marriage to shape me. He used it to sand off the selfish parts of me, to teach me that the world doesn't revolve around my comfort, and to show me the kind of deep, steady peace that only comes from walking closely to Him. So, knowing and experiencing what I have now, yes, I would choose marrying that man again. Yeah, if that was the only way to get this close to God, then yes, I'm not trading this place, this peace, for anything. Honestly, it's Genesis 50:20 in my own handwriting. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. Or what about Romans 8:28? I love this one. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, even the things that make you roll your eyes at your younger self. Now picture this, that 20-year-old me standing in my cozy living room on a beautiful, intricate rug. It's warm-toned, full of detailed patterns, and has one big awkward lump in the corner. I knew exactly what was under that lump. Every red flag I didn't want to deal with. So I just smoothed it over when people noticed, smiled, changed the subject, pretend it was just a kink, or, said, "What are you talking about? Everybody's rugs look like this." You know what I mean? But the truth was that lump was a trip hazard. And eventually, I tripped. I tripped really hard. It makes me think of Psalm 37, 23, 24. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Though they stumble, even on a lumpy rug, they will not fall, for the Lord upholds them with his hand. So yes, I stumbled, yes, I face planted, and yes, I still got up again, because he was holding me the whole time. Let me pause here, because I need to say something important. Not every odd moment is a red flag. Not every inconvenience means you're with a toxic person. People have bad days, strange moods, offhand comments they wish they could reel back in. A relationship isn't fragile just because it hits a wobble. Here's the difference. I wish someone had sat me down and explained. A pattern is not the same as a moment. A habit is not the same as a slip. And smoothing a lump under the rug isn't you being gracious, it's you being afraid to name what's right in front of you. Addressing a concern doesn't mean confronting every tiny thing your partner says or does, or friend or auntie, sister, etc. It doesn't mean becoming the relationship police. I'm not encouraging that. What I am encouraging is this. Notice what keeps repeating. Notice the things that don't sit right in your spirit. Notice when your peace consistently leaves the room. And you don't have to fix it today. You don't have to announce it to anyone. You don't have to pack your bags. Just stop pretending it's normal. Acknowledge what's actually there. Tell the truth to yourself first. That's all I'm asking. You can recognize the patterns, see the manipulation, and understand the games someone might be playing. And you can still operate in authentic, fearless love. Not performative love, not desperate love, not self-erasing love. Real love, the kind rooted in God. How you respond to the warnings, how you hold the tension between compassion and clarity, that requires wisdom. It requires discernment, and sometimes the steady presence of a third party. Because you're not meant to carry the confusion alone, and you deserve to live in a home that has peace. Maybe you're like me, living with the consequences of a choice you wish you'd made differently. Hear me. God let you make that choice, and in his mercy, he can still use it. James 1:2-4 tells us to consider it pure joy when we face trials, because they produce perseverance. You might not feel joy right now, but you can trust God is working in you like roots under the soil. I can't promise your marriage will be refined, but I can promise you will be. So, my rug wasn't just any rug. It's a bohemian cream and mustard with warm brown threads running through it. The kind of rug you imagine sipping tea on with friends, not the kind you hide warning signs under. If your life was a rug, what would it look like? Tell me about it in the comments. Is it smooth and flat? Or are there a few suspicious lumps you've been stepping over? What's hidden under it? Share your rug style and what's hidden under it. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs today. And as for the state of my marriage today, well, you're going to have to wait for the next X amount of episodes, dear friends. Until then, please remember this. God is still writing your story. By the way, I'm Gigi, and this channel is a place where men and women can find support for their high conflict relationships. Join me next time as we walk through the ashes of my past and see where joy can bloom.